Hallelujah. And not just to hear the word, but doers of the word. Because it does us no good to be up here just listening. He ain't entertaining us. He's trying to train us, trying to get us right. Right? You didn't log in just to listen and you can hear some jokes told, and
they coming.
You're gonna hear some jokes, but that's not why you're here. You want to find out, how can I make it into the kingdom? Hallelujah. What I have to do.
Hallelujah. All right. Everything else is good. Okay. So I put Daniel by itself because, we were going over each book, but Daniel has a unique understanding of end time prophecy. So because of that, I wanted to go over just a little bit of that, specifically for latter days. And then as we further go into it, we're going to be coming back to these books to show how it starts to build up. Okay. Even Ezekiel and some other places, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Daniel and Ezekiel, to have 2 books, but the canonized only shows 1 book. Okay. But, that's in the 1st, 2nd century. And during the time, the Masoretes or the Masoretic that we have today, they just make it 1 book. So I will go into that later on. But we're going to focus specifically on Daniel. Everybody knows the rules. Oh, don't need that. Okay. So please keep your mic muted except when asking or answering a question. You must use the mic to speak, so that way everyone can hear you. There's a feature in the room where you can raise your hand if you have a question. All questions must be on the topic. You have 60 seconds. We do give some lenience, so it might be 62, 63, somewhere around there, to ask or answer a question.
1 or 2 more seconds.
Yeah. If you pass that 60, 62, 63 second window, your mic will be muted. And again, I share, you can still keep going. We won't hear you, but we can still, you can relay that at the end. These rules are due to time of the recordings of the lessons. These are live teachings. We must give the Moreh enough time to complete the lesson. All right, so let's just jump into it. The book of Daniel. Chapter 2, it says, and there's not a lot of Hebrew in it, but for those that are in Hebrew class, I'm gonna need your participation so you guys can start exercising some of the nakud if you see some, meaning the vowel pointings to help you pronounce certain words, and then we'll go from there, all right? So, but there is a Elohim in Shamayim, or heaven, that reveals secrets and makes known to the king. What king is this? Okay, but how is Nebuchadnezzar sounded out? Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. Okay, so what shall be in the latter days? So again, you're going to see that it's going to give him his latter days, but it's also going to give us latter days about what's to happen in the future as well, other than just his time. Your dream and the visions of your head upon your bed are these. As for you, O king, your thoughts came into your mind upon your bed. What should come to pass hereafter? And he that reveals secrets makes known to you what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sake that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that you might know the thoughts of your heart. Now notice where we are in the chapter. So that means it must have been something happened prior to this, right? Which we'll see in just a minute. Okay. I go down to 45, where it says, for as much as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that's highlighted for a reason, and that it breaks in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great Elohim has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Why is the blue, why is it highlighted in blue and the red. Can anyone share with me why it was happening? Okay, so what's the stone? You said
Is
this
that the cornerstone?
cornerstone. Okay, so we understand that this stone was cut out of a mountain. So what's the mountain?
Sion.
Okay, so this stone was cut out of the mountain, and we got to figure out what this means. You remember, this is going to be a dream or a vision, right? Okay, and then it says, and that it breaks in pieces the iron and clay. What is all of this iron, clay, silver, and gold? What is that?
Is that an idol or kingdoms that are going to proceed?
Okay, so they're a representation of kingdoms, kings, and each one means something, right? Okay, great. All right, so first we're going to use the stone cut out of the mountain. So the word for stone is Evan, right? Evan or Eben if you want. The Chaldea, the Aramaic, corresponding to H68, which we'll read in just a minute, but stone. From the root, though, the root is through the meaning to build a stone, to rebuild, to establish. What else it means? Cause to continue. So this stone that's going to be breaking all these other nations up is to help rebuild, is to help build, is to help establish, is to help cause something to continue. This is the stone. Okay, and this stone is cut out of a mountain. Okay, is everyone with me so far? All right. So the root word for son, bin, means what? Son means the bet and the noon technically means the house that continues, right? The bin. The daughter is a marked life, right? Bat is a marked sign or marked oath, if you will. But son, bin, bat, house, bait, and stone all share the same root as bana. Okay, so if you're a son, if you're a daughter, if you believe that this is your house, meaning this vessel, all of it is designed to be built, to be rebuilt, right? It's designed for a purpose. Is everyone with me so far? No problems. All right, great. All right, yes, Yahuah, Isaiah 28:16 says, therefore, thus saith Adonai Yahuah, behold, I lay in Sion for a foundation, a stone. What type of stone? It's a tried stone. So let me ask you a question. Have you guys been tried in your vessels and things like that? How much you can?
Yep.
Okay, a tried stone. So that means we know the Mashiach is the tried stone and everything, but he's the example of all these other stones that's going to build this house. Mind you, this is a spiritual house that's going to be built, or a spiritual kingdom that's going to be built. So it's going to go through some of the trials and tribulations that the Mashiach went through, right? So some people get they get upset or saddened or depressed when either they didn't do too well in their trial, because some of us have our good days and our bad days, right? But as long as you still got air in your lungs, you have a chance to get that right, right? So that way you can be a tried stone. I win some battles, I lose some battles, but that war, I would never lose. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, a precious cornerstone, a sure. How many of our foundation is strong? We've been talking about foundations for a lot, but how many of us know how good our foundation really is? How do you know how good your foundation is? When you get tried. Without any trial, oh yeah, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, right? Oh man, I know this. My foundation is strong, but let something happen, and then that tried stone is going to check your foundation, right? So again, keep that in mind. He that believes shall not make haste. So I don't care what you're going through. If you believe, keep going, endure. Ephesians 2:20 says, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets, Yahushua HaMashiach himself being the chief cornerstone. He is the chief cornerstone, the example of all stones, of all foundation. he's the one that helps us understand how this works. He's been through a lot, right? So again, keep in mind, we have to build our foundation. Okay, if not, there's going to be some problems. All right, 1 Peter 2:6 says, wherefore also it is contained in the scriptures, behold, I lay in Zion or Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believes on him shall not be confounded. All right, so everyone sees here a couple of things. One is, it's strange how in Ephesians talks about the apostles and the prophets, right? The apostles and the prophets. So that must mean if the foundation of the apostles and prophets, if he's talking about it here, it still stands even in the Brit Kadashah. So that's to tell somebody that the prophets, where are they located? In the Tanakh, right? Commonly called the Old Testament. So as far as they're concerned, that's still a foundation to them, right? So if we lean on their foundation, plus who else? Plus the Paul, wait a minute, no, plus the apostle. Apostles, plural, right? Because some of us look at, well, you know, I know Shaul the Paul was an apostle, and my understanding of what he said, all is done away with. But all the other apostles been teaching something different. So something is wrong with this picture, right? Obviously, there's a misunderstanding of Shaul's writings, but my point is the foundation of the apostles, plural, right? Such as Timothy, if you read about things like that, the scriptures is for our learning and for our reproof. All right, anyway. So, and then of course we have, lastly, it says contained in the scriptures. And of course of their day, scripture was the Tanakh. That is the scriptures, okay? And with that, you have a chief cornerstone, which is Yahushua the Mashiach. Okay, so everyone's good so far, right? All right. No questions. Okay, great. Mountain is a metaphor for power. So you can read that in Zechariah 4:7. So Mashiach being this stone from this mountain, I mean, he's from this particular power. Okay, so that's why I want you all to see how this works versus a physical mountain. We're thinking physical mountain, but it's a power that's coming out of this stone. Remember, if he's a stone, this has to be something metaphorical. It has to be something spiritual. So shall that mountain have to be something spiritual. All right. All right, so we'll keep going. So remember I said we saw in 2, so we're going to go back a little bit to see what is leading up to Nebuchadnezzar's dream. So it says, and in the second year, the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, right? Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his ruach or his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake up from him. Okay. Daniel 2:10 says, and what's that word there? Kasdaye. What is that? Kasdaye. The Chaldean. Sounding. Okay. Anyway. Right. Right. So it's interesting how it's translated, let's say in ESV or, yeah, this is Aramaic. Okay. So answer before the king, and it said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, great nor ruler, that asks such things at any magician or astrologer or the what? Hasda, right? The Chaldean, as it will. All right. 12 says, and the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought who? Daniel and his fellows to be slain. So if no one can answer Nebuchadnezzar's dream, then all you wise men and astrologers, all you guys just need to die. That's the decree that's going out. Okay? You can't answer this, you're out of here. Now, the one that saved him, obviously, we know is Daniel. We're not going to read the part, but he simply tells them, tell him, don't kill him. You know, how many of you guys would have said the same thing? I said, listen, kill them all, but us. We know the dream, but your astrologers, your sorcerers, man, burn them all down. But no, that's not what he did. Okay. All right. Verse 16, it says, then Daniel went in and desired of the king, and he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. Hey, king, listen, give me some time. I know an Elohim that can interpret your dream. All I'm asking him is give me that information, and I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. That's all he's asking, right? No problem. Then he says, then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to who? Let's talk the Hebrew here. Yahuah. I thought Canaan might say something. Yahuah. I thought Mishael might say something. Mishael, and I thought Franz might say something. Azariah. Okay, no worries. And his companions. All right, now keep this in mind. Eleazar, technically. All right. So keep in mind, he's going to ask, but he went back to his. So I kept it in the English for those, just for this particular purpose. So earlier, Daniel 1:6, you'll see these names where it says, now among these were the children of who? These are the children of Yehuda. Where is Yehuda at? They're in captivity, right? Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. He said, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and unto Mishael, and to Azariah Abednego. Okay, so these nations, just, I don't know if that, it may only happen one time, where you go into another nation, they change your name. Oh, I don't know. Okay. All right, so let's look at these names. Belteshazzar means Bel protects his life. Okay, Belteshazzar means Bel protects his life. Now we're going to see what each name means in just a minute, but for right now, let's look at their names. Okay, next one is Shadrach. It says, command of Aku. He's the moon god, Aku. Okay, you ever seen that show, Samurai Jack? You remember Aku? Okay, great. Well,
Yep.
There you go. Yep. Now, if you don't know, you can Google or YouTube Aku if you like. I'm gonna keep moving. Meshach means who is as Aku, or who is like Aku, or okay. See how this works, right? All right. All right. So Abednego, servant of Nebu. Now I wonder who is Nebu, right? All right, no worries. All right, so their names were changed to Babylonian names and to reflect their deities. Okay, so we'll see what they look like in a minute. So now Nebuchadnezzar changed Daniel's name from his name. Daniel's name literally means El is judge, right? To Baal, or Baal protects the king, right? That's his name. Hananiah, or Yahuah, Yah has been favorable, and was changed to Shadrach, right? Command of the moon god. Okay, and Aku, or Mishael's name, who is what is El is, or who is what El is. And I put, of course, I find this one really interesting because was changed to Meshach, which translate as who is, or what is Aku is, right? So you got one is like who's like Yahuah is, so to speak, right? Now it's gonna be who is Aku. I want you to change, so you need to know who he is, right? All right, so who is like Aku? Okay, another idol god, if you will. Finally, Azariah means Yah has helped, and he changed to Abednego, be interpreted as servant. So instead of Yahuwah's help, he's the servant of Nebu, okay, the Babylonian god of wisdom. Okay, so here's an old picture of Daniel that they found 400 or so BC. And then here is Nebu. Okay. He's supposed to be the Elohim, or the quote unquote God of wisdom of the Babylonians. All right. You see a lot of pictures of this guy. All right, we'll keep going. So 18 says, and they would desire mercy of the Elah of heaven concerning these secrets. Now, Elah, remember, we're in the Aramaic section. So, if it sounds funny versus Elohim or El or Al, we're in Aramaic. Okay. So Elah of heaven concerning the secrets of Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babel or Babylon, right? So the father's going to help him out. Obviously, it says, then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed Elah of the heaven. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste. He's like, oh man, you got the interpretation? Come on, hurry up, because he's trying to kill some people. And he said, thus unto him, I have found a man of the captivities of Yahuah. So in that land, I found a righteous person that's going to tell you your dream. Now, has that ever happened before? Remember Joseph, right? Notice that in their captivity, the Father is there with them. No difference in today, but we'll keep going. He said that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name what's the name? His name, Daniel's name. What's his name? Belteshazzar. Okay. Are you able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? Okay. Mind you, he didn't give out no information. Okay. So Daniel, so in this particular here, I just put Daniel, Isaiah, and Micah links the gathering of the mountain. And this is going to be for later on, but the place where Yahuah will be. All three refers to the end time or last days reign, which will be on his mountain, the place of inheritance and judgment. So basically, you'll read that from here going forward, even in the Near East culture, they all believed that their Elohim gives laws from atop of a mountain, all of them. So outside of Israel, the Babylonians, the Akkadians, Mesopotamians, all of them believe the same thing, okay? So I just gave here really quick, Ezekiel, Exodus, Shemot 15:17 says, you shall bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahuah, which you have made for you to dwell in the sanctuary, O Adonai, which you with your hands have established. And then it says, Yahuah shall reign forever and ever. Okay, and then in this here was just an example, that cylinder. Everyone's familiar with this cylinder? Have everyone seen this cylinder before? The King Gudea? Lo? No? All right, so these cylinders commemorate King Gudea's building and dedication of a temple for the El of Nigrosu in Lagash. The narrative about King Gudea even says that all the foreign lands assembled from the horizon to this gigantic temple, and that's what you're reading off the cylinder, that's where you can locate it, for those that can read that. And that from the temple, the king will issue laws during a day of majesty and justice, which you'll see in cylinder B. The Anuki are a group of deities first attested during the reign of Gudea, and you can see when the date that was. So we won't go through none of this stuff here. I'm just sharing with you that even these other nations understood laws is coming out of the mountain, okay, of their Elohim. Anyway, 34 says, you saw till a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote image became a great mountain. And what did it do? It filled the whole earth. Now, how does that work? Okay, so what's doing all this? First, it tells you that, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image. Now, what image did it smote? The one that was clay, iron, brass, gold, right? Okay, became a great mountain. Now, he became a great mountain. So what was the definition of a mountain before? It represents power. So he became power, and his power does what? And it fills the whole earth. Just keep that in mind. All right. Isaiah 2:2 says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahuah's house shall be established, and the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above all the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Same thing. And it says, and many people shall go and say, come to you, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuah, to the house of Elohim of Yahuah Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahuah from Jerusalem. Of course, it mimics that in Micah 4:1-2. So all three talks about a mountain. All three talks about laws coming out this one mountain. And specifically, there's going to be one that's, which we'll later on call the branch, is going to be the one that's going to be doing a lot of work, right? And then his reign is going to be forever. Okay, is everyone good? All right. Daniel 2:36 says, this is the dream, and he will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. So now you're ready, king. You, O king, are a what? King of kings. Anyone else called a king of kings? Okay. You are king of kings, for the Elah of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, and strength, and esteem. So this king is going to be viewed as king of kings. And then on top of that, what is he going to have? He's going to have power and strength and esteem. Okay, great. And then it talks about, as the children of men dwell in the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven has been given unto your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. Now, we know gold represents tried and things like that, but for right now, what will you get out of verse 38? Okay, so let me put it together. There's a king that's called King of Kings. This particular time, it's talking about Nebuchadnezzar, right? He says, and for Elah, or Elohim, if you will, of the heavens, has given you the kingdom. So this mighty one in Shamayim, or heaven, has given this king to be King of Kings, okay? And he's going to have power and strength. But not only that, and whatsoever children men dwell, the beast of the field and the fowls of heaven, and he has given into your hands, and have made you ruler over them all. He's given them, everyone sees the garden picture.
Yes, Moreh, I was going to say that's also Adam.
Okay, good. So let's look at Septuagint. He says, in every place where the children of men dwell, and he has given them unto thine hands the wild beasts of the field, and the birds of the fowls of the sky, and the, you don't see that in the Masoretic text, fish of the sea, and has made you a dome of all. Okay, made you head of all. Septuagint kind of gives you the same picture as Genesis 1:28. So we'll look at 1:28. And it says, and Elohim blessed them, saying, increase and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over fish of the sea, flying creatures, or the fowls, or the birds of the heavens, and over the cattle, or the beasts of all the earth, and all reptiles that creepeth upon the earth. So there's a continuing pattern from Genesis, as we've been walking this thing out, to show that from the garden coming out, it's still going to be the same. He's still asking for the same thing, right? He changes not. I hope everyone's starting to see. Now I can see he changes not. I mean, every story is about the garden all the way to the end. He does not change. Okay. So the first three kingdoms are part of a prototypical eschatology of one of the kings of the first kingdom, i.e. Babylon, as an Adam-like figure. The power that this king or kings, king of kings, have, so will Yahushua being called in Adam. So I ran out of space. So just to say that the same thing here is the same thing of the Mashiach, and he's also considered like the second or the last Adam. So notice that Adam in the garden, this King of Kings, and then Mashiach is called this. So again, at the end, you're going to see this is going to come full circle later on at the end of the prophecy. Okay? All right. Ezekiel, or Ezekiel 40, verse 2 says, in the visions of Elohim brought he me into the land of Yisrael, or Israel, and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was as the frame of a city on the south. Revelation 21:10 says, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the Kodesh Jerusalem, or the set apart Jerusalem, descending out of Shamayim, or out of heaven from Elohim. Okay, so we can see that the eschatological temple / sanctuary will be on a mountain. We also read that it will be raised above the hills. Notice that in Daniel, it will fill the earth. About 3 weeks ago, we also showed the tribe of Yehudah will be instrumental in helping in the latter days. This must be a reuniting of the tribe of Yehudah. Why? Because Yehudah was scattered where? 4 corners, and all other tribes before the final gathering takes place. Meaning that if Yehudah has been scattered to the 4 corners, and Mashiach is from the tribe of Yehudah, and he has to bring his house, make the 2 sticks one, and then there's going to be an appointed leader, if you will, that's going to be over, and that appointed leader is going to be one with the scepter of the tribe of Yehudah, and he's set up for the latter days. All right, so how are we doing so far? Right, no problem. So everyone understands that this gathering that's going to take place, it's not going to be a bunch of mixing initially, meaning that to get that remnant going, to get the house set up, there has to be a purging first. You know, so one may ask, well, what about the Gentiles? Are they coming in too? First, you got to clean your house. You ain't gonna bring no Gentiles into your house ain't clean. Well, let me back up. How many of you guys, when your house is a wreck, y'all bring them in anyway? Excuse the mess, right? Excuse the mess, come on in. Or you be like, hold on, or you really clean your house up first, and then unless someone comes unannounced. You're like, oh my gosh, you don't even want to take them to some of them sections of your house, but we'll leave that alone. I'll be right back. And if it's hot enough, you need some water, I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Next is going to be, notice who saved the Hebrews of the tribe of Yehudah. Okay, notice. Now let's see who that was. Daniel says, and these 3 men, what are their names now? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astounded and rose up in haste and spoke and said unto his counselors, you know, it's funny that word counselors, like words, it's the word for debar, you know, these words. Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. And he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Bar HaElohim. Bar is the Aramaic for son of Elohim. And you ask, so how does he know how the son of Elohim looks like? One in there looks like someone that he's familiar with. All right. 26 says, and then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, your servants of who? Of Elah. Go ahead. Elah. Okay, of course, it's translated as Most High in the King James. Okay, Elah comes forth and come here. It says, then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was any hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Now, what type of being you think about? The son of Elohim, he's in your midst. There's a protection going on in the midst of this fire. No, mind you, consuming fire. But remember, I asked weeks ago if either you can be consumed by this fire or absorb this fire. The only way you can absorb is if you're in right standing with the Father. So they rather side with the Elohim of Israel, and thereby no hurt, harm, or danger came to them. Okay, so again, all this fear about what's happening around you, you shouldn't have any. But you know what they're about to do? They're about to force us for this vaccine. I don't care. Well, not only about to force us, they're locking us down. We're about to do martial law. I don't care. Well, they're going to take your children. I don't care. In other words, you got to understand something. Are you understand that the Father already knows this? Or do you believe that the Elohim of this world, the prince of this world, is stronger than our Elohim? You got to have in your mind that, hey, all I'm asking for, Father, is guidance. That's all I want. Where you want me to go, I'm going to go do it. That's it. But not, I'm scared. I got fear. Did you see what's happening? It's all over the news. So what? Okay.
The Most High sent them into this situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and now that you're in the situation, these individuals still had you notice that they had faith.
Mm-hmm.
They had a strong belief in the Most High. They weren't, whatever the fall or the cause for them, they weren't the cause for going into in the land. But when they got to the land, they still represented the Father.
Right.
You know, and that's where we have to be. Still representing the Father no matter what's going on.
Right. Now think about what's happening when they were in Mitzrayim, when that governmental system came down. Oh, Moses, what you doing? You done put trouble on us.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now you think about today. Don't do that. Oh, but you heard what he said. Next thing you know, we're going to some of us going to be the same way, be like the same way they were in Mitzrayim or Egypt. Oh my gosh, just comply with the government. Stop. I don't want to go to jail. Right? Just comply. Stop. You know what I mean? You're going to find them.
This, man.
They're going to be doing that. Right? Ken.
Greater is he that lives in me than he that lives in the world. So
yeah. And they're going to say, right now, I can say that. But wait till the law's at your door.
But that's where faith comes in.
Excuse me. I need you to tell me where all your friends are. I need to round them up. I'm not going, I'm taking you in jail. I'm going, listen, I'm going to tell you where they live.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me.
As a matter of fact, if you got gas in your car, I'll show you where they are. It's for some, it's easier when it's not direct pressure.
Oh, yeah.
But the minute they start knocking on your door or start doing some things and it's out of your control, which is the main problem for us today, is we always think we gotta have control. Some things is just not in your control. And so because it's not in your control, you can't figure out the end. So therefore you panic, right? You gotta still believe that the Father knows the end from the beginning. All right, so then verse 28 says, then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, blessed be the what? Elah or Elohim, if you will, of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his Malakeh, which is Malak, if you will, and this is the Aramaic form of it, and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's words and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any Elah except their own Elohim, if you will. Now, I want you to see here first, the one in there that looks like the son of Elohim, right? Is now called what? A melech, a messenger, or commonly called in English, in the King James, an angel. So he's called a son of Elohim in one place, and then as you keep reading, they understood that this was an angel, right? So I don't really like using the word angel because it puts angel in this Anglo-Saxon bubble that this is a person with some wings. And, you know, this is what an angel looks like or something like that. Now, mind you, you won't find an angel that has wings. You might find a cherub, a seraphim, but you won't find a malach that has wings. They more or less look like, if you will, a man. But that's just another teaching for another time. I'm simply sharing right now, though, that this malach, and malach, a malach or a malach means what? What does that word mean in Hebrew? Messenger, right? So this son is also a messenger, not this son is also an angel. Okay, all right. All right, so a little summary of 28 through 45. So the vision was of a huge statue composed of 4 sections, each which represents a world empire. The climax of the vision portrays a stone coming from nowhere that smashes the statue and grows and fills the entire world. Daniel explains that the stone smashing of this statue represents the kingdom of Elohim, Elohim's defeat of evil, empires at the end of time, and the eternal establishment of Elohim's kingdom. And then you can read that through 44 through 45. So to your right, you'll see at top, it's just more about Daniel that we're not going to get into today, about the beast with the horns. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. And of course, in the top, you see the Hebrew men. I don't know why I call them Hebrew boys. Anyway, at the bottom, then they break down the gold, the silver, the brass, the iron, and the feet mixed with iron and clay. And then that stone that came down, if you will, is destroying the kingdoms, is Mashiach. Okay. Now, there's something about this particular one that's mixed with the feet of iron and clay, divided nations. There's something about that particular that's our time. Okay. Is anyone familiar with this story?
Ken.
Okay, great. So we don't have to go over it. Let's keep going. No, later in the book of Daniel, a horn that is even worse than the other horns, also a nation that does not get along, even within itself. Okay, so again, more on that later, but you're going to see that this last nation, you can see they don't even get along. They're going to be mixed. You know, they're going to have problems within their own nation. I wonder what nation has a problem within their own nation. Now, I'm not talking about Israel. Of course, we got some issues, but we're just mixed and confused, some of us, right? But this particular nation, hence the term nation, Israel's not a nation yet, right? In a way that nations is established in scripture. But my point is that nation is going to be divided, and we're going to see what that is later on. All right. So what Adam or Adam, as well as the Babylonian and Assyrian kings try to fulfill, will be fulfilled only by the Son of Man in the end time. Okay, in the end time. So let's see in Daniel 7:13, it says, I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of Shamayim, or heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Man, this Son of Man is coming to do this? Okay. 14 says, and there was given him, now where'd you hear dominion at before? Okay, Bereshit, right? Chapter 128. He gave him dominion and esteem and a kingdom that all people, nations, language should serve him. His dominion is sometimes, and okay, excuse me, slicha. It's an everlasting dominion which shall pass away. Oh, so it will not pass away. Okay, and his kingdom, that which shall be destroyed. Oh, it won't be destroyed. So I wondered, has this been fulfilled yet? So that means there's some things in the Tanakh that has not been fulfilled yet. Okay, keep that in mind. For all nations and languages, I don't care who you are, his dominion is an everlasting dominion. Okay, this Son of Man that came from the clouds of Shamayim. All right, keep that in mind. 14 says, Daniel 10:14 says, now I am come to make you understand what shall befall your people and when? Latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. Okay, so when it says it's for many days, it's not talking about many nights, just many days. Is that how that works? I'm just making this obviously clear that the word yom or day is not just isolated to a daylight or a daytime. But again, that's another story for another time. Okay, like in that day. All right. But again, what he's giving them, he says that your people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. So remember, I told you latter days means these days are ongoing. So it's going to fulfill certain ages. It's all we're going to have. You hear last day, singular, then you know that's to stop. But when it's latter days, like latter ages, things that like Maccabean period has a lot of what happened in Daniel, if everyone's familiar with the book of Maccabees. Okay, we'll keep going. So what comes before the kingdom that will not be destroyed? Now, the kingdom that will not be destroyed is Elohim's kingdom. Who's a part of Elohim's kingdom? Let me back up. Who is going to be the forefront of Elohim's kingdom?
Yeah.
Well, we know the Mashiach is right. He's going to be the king, but is it Israel?
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Israel. They're going to help usher in a lot of things. Right? Is everyone with me so far? All right. Now, let's read. It says, and I beheld that the same horn made war with the Kedeshim. This is Aramaic, Kedeshim, and prevailed against them. So this horn is a representation of kingdom, if you will, right? So this horn made war with it's translated as saints, right? In the books, saints. It's okay. It didn't come from the Catholic. It's okay. Saints. It's fine. It's not like your dog, Zion. This is saints. This is fine. I promise you. All right. Huh? Well, you know. Now, I know he has to go back to the store and get that collar changed. It's a lot of work that has to be done. If not, you keep cussing your dog out every time. Zion. Like, okay. All right. So I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, if you will, and prevailed against it. So that means this horn is going to prevail over his set apart ones. It's a fact. Okay. For a time. Then it says, until the Ancient of Days came. So this is going to happen until a time period. Till the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to who? What does it say? To Le Kadishe, right? To the saints of the Elyonin, Most High. Okay, Elyonin. Okay, and the time came that the saints, if you will, or the Kadeshim, possess the kingdom. So that kingdom is not yet here, right? So it's going to happen. This horn is going to prevail up until a certain time period, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given. So has judgment been given yet? All right, so then they're still being overcome. And while they're in this persecution and crying out, he knows this. That's why I said he already knows what's happening. So Father, let me just remind you. Is that what you need to do? No, he might be saying, no, the reason why for you is because I still need you to work on you. If I come now, you might miss the boat. Right? So be happy that I'm long suffering. I'm patient. Be happy that I'm doing it, because if I'd have came and you ain't got your stuff together, guess what? You say, oh, here I am, Father. And you saw the spaceship. No, I'm just messing. Okay, we'll keep going. All right, we'll keep going. I don't know. We'll keep going.
Whatever that chariot is,
Mm-hmm.
clouds.
Mm-hmm. He must have LED lights on that joke. Okay. All right, so we'll keep going. 23 says, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, this fourth beast, okay, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. What is the fourth beast or the fourth kingdom? Let me go back, just in case you guys might have missed it. I know, I got to go back because you guys didn't write it down.
It was iron.
Whoa, fourth. What's the fourth right here?
Rome.
It's Rome.
Rome. Okay. Now Rome was something else. To include today, a lot of the Roman ways are in today's society. Okay. So keep that in mind.
Slicha, Moreh.
Ken.
Isn't the Rome? It's also, so it's mixed with the bottom, which is the toes of the statue. It's mixed with iron and clay. So couldn't it be like also the remnant of an old power? Iron and clay, it doesn't sit very well, but it would be a mixture of an old remnant in with a less stable nation.
Okay, but there's another nation coming out. So that's the part that right now we have a lot of Roman stuff coming out, but there's going to be another beast, if you will, that's coming out, and it's going to be even worse than Rome. Rome is just Rome was bad, don't get me wrong. However, there comes another one that's going to come out of that. Remember, I said they were divided. So when they're divided, what winds up happening is there's going to be something coming out of that divide. Right, because a divided kingdom cannot what?
Stand.
So that must mean something is going to come out of that mixed miry clay feet.
Oh, Slicha. Oh, okay. Ken. I understand. Okay. Toda.
Okay, you just made it. Hallelujah. Okay. All right. Hallelujah. All right. So then it said the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which you shall be diverse among all kingdoms. He's really diverse, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. What's going to happen?
Another shall arise.
Okay, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Okay, so again, we'll talk about what that means in the future. 25 says, and he shall speak great words against who? Against Eliah, or against the Most High, as it's translated in Aramaic. And he shall wear out who? The Kadashay, or the saints of Elyonin. Elyonin. So in layman's terms, he shall wear out the saints of Elohim. Just to be transparent here a little bit. All right. Who's going to do this though? Who's going to wear them out? This horn. I want you. This horn represents a king, represents a kingdom. This particular king or kingdom, or this horn, is going to wear out the saints. Right? Going to wear them out. I'm so tired. What are you doing to me? Father, help me. Right? And keep that in mind. And then he says, and think to do what? This particular horn. He thinks to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and a times and a dividing of times. So everyone sees that there's a prophecy here that you can also mirror in Revelations, right? But we haven't gone there, or we're not going to go there today until we start putting all this together. Right now, we're just building our information. We're building a foundation first. All right. But you remember, this is what's going to happen. He's going to wear you out. And I don't mean to step on any toes. Okay. I'm just because a lot of the things, if you understand, if this horn, these horns of this kingdom and how all this stuff takes place, they're going to be changing times and seasons. What does that mean to us today? Are we on the right time? The right season? How do we know or don't know? What tells you? Sun, moon, and stars tell you. But is the calendar, like the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar, is that set up for sun, moon, and stars? Something is wrong, right? So just keep that in mind. They're going to wear you out because now it's just easier just to, right? But again, now someone says, now if I do this, what's going to happen if I'm not following that? Should I lose my job? You know, everyone has a lot of questions, right? But then you think about what happened in the Mitzrayim or in the Egypt captivity. What happened? Did they have to work underneath that calendar or that system? Yes. And then when they came out, then he says, it's just in Shemot or Exodus chapter 16. He says, let me see if they'll keep my Shabbat, right? But he brought them out. He knew that. Then you go over to the Babylonian system. The Babylonian system has a lunar calendar, right? He brings them out. Everyone see, because someone says, oh, the Babylonian is the same as the, no, it's not. Okay, but anyway, I know we're not talking about calendars or anything, so we'll keep going. All right, so who are the saints? How many of us consider themselves saints? Huh? Okay. So let's look. Devarim 33:1. No one online said they were saints. So we it's okay.
Hey.
Listen, let me see where he's going with this first. All right.
Maybe the 1/3.
All right. So 33:1 says, and this is the blessing wherewith Mushar Moses, the man of Elohim, blessed the children of Israel before his death. Now.
Oh, I know what it is. The 12 tribes of Yasharel. The remnant.
You go ahead, mute the mic.
Mute the mic.
All right. And he said, Yahuah came from where? Sinai or Mount Sinai, right? And rose up from Seir or from Seir, you know, the Esau's mountain, if you will, unto them. And he shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000 of saints in the King James, right? Or ESV, whatever you're going to use. 10,000 of his kadosh or kadesh or his saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Who are these people? This here, who came? He came with 10,000 of saints. Now, the 10,000 saints is who? Yeah, how many times have y'all read this?
Bunch of times, Keith.
Okay.
We know this Bible backwards and forwards.
Okay. So just keep this in mind. We're going to read it today. I just was curious. All right.
We read it every day.
So let's look a little bit here. After we finish, Deborah says, and yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in your hands, and they sat down at your feet. Everyone shall receive of your word. Okay. Now, Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Yaakov. Now, the purpose of me highlighting these here is just to show that it's going to be law, his word. These are all a part of the saints, right? But we still need to know who those saints are, the 10,000, right? So keep that in mind. Psalms 148:14 says, he also exalted the horn of his people. So that means Israel is also called a horn. Okay, horn of his people, the praise of all his kasid. Kasid. This is another way of saying saints. Okay, kasid. Even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise you, Yahuah. All right, now let's look at these saints. First one we'll look at is the Targums. Okay, let's finish familiar with Targums, Jonathan, right? Also, Uncleo says the same thing or similar to it. But I just use this one. It says, then he said, Yahuah, now this is the Targum of 33:2, where it talks about the saints. Okay, great. So he says, Yahuah was revealed from Sinai to give the Torah to his people, the house of Israel. So the splendor of the esteem of his Shekinah rose from Gebal to give it to the children of Chetzah, that's Esau. Right? But then he says, but they did not accept it. Esau, are you kidding me? I don't want that. Okay.
He despised that too.
He appeared in esteem. Now, okay. Well, so anyone know why in the Targums, why would he appear to Esau, and you'll see Ishmael in a minute? Why is he appearing to them?
Because they're on the line of
Abraham's seed, right? Okay, keep that in mind. So then he says, okay, so they didn't want it. And he appears to majesty from Mount Paran and give it to the children of Ishmael, but they did not receive it. Okay, I don't want it neither. So Israel's all right. They got the marriage covenant, but listen, I want to see if these other nations that's a part of Abraham's seed, do you want to take part of this? Absolutely not. Okay, so he went back and was revealed in the set apartness over his people and the house of Yisrael, and with him were many myriads of Kodesh Melachims, or saints, Melachim, or what do you call it? The angels or the saints is called Melachims. The myriads that he was talking about, the 10,000 saints, according to the Targums, is basically saying those were the Melachims. Okay, we'll read more in just a minute. With the writing of his right hand and his Torah from the midst of the flaming fire, he gave the commandments to them. Now, everyone's with me so far? All right, let's add another one. Psalm 68:17 says, the chariots of Elohim and 20,000, even thousands of Melachims. Yahuah is among them as in Sinai in the Kodesh place. So these Melachims were at Mount Sinai at the same time when all this was taking place. Okay, now let's look at good old trusty Acts. 7:53 says, you who receive the law as delivered by who? Melachims, and did not keep it. So the saint, the Melachims, is also called saints. Okay, is everyone with me so far? All right. So notice that the Melachims are called saints. They are also called sons or sons of Elohim, just as we are called or calling ourselves saints and sons or children of Elohim. They all witnessed the agreement that was made. All of them was there to witness that marriage agreement, that covenant that was made. Okay.
They got long memories too.
Now, I've never read anywhere where Melachim suffered memory loss or anything like that, right? So, I was going to put up some scripture to show you that even the Melachims keep the law. But my point simply is right now is that these two, someone's made a little lower than a Melachim, right? But my point is they're mirroring as being sons of Elohim, saints, and they all are going to be one at some point in the end. Okay? They're all going to be one.
Join the ranks.
Yeah, you're going to have some. You don't have to go and get no energy. You ain't got to go to Walmart, get no batteries for your clothing, for your garments. It's going to glow all the time. Right? And how will it glow? Anyone just curious? How would your clothes and your garments be arrayed white linen? And how would it glow? And okay, precious stones. But what's making the light? The Father. You remember when Moses was there? What happened? Moses started glowing. Right? So, and he didn't have the garment that we're talking about here. But his face was shining. He said, oh, put a veil over your face. I don't want to see that. I'm scared. So you imagine being in his presence all the time and just glowing. Okay. So don't be thinking about ghosts and things like that, because someone's like, oh, we're going to be ghosts. No. All right. We'll continue. Daniel 7:27 says, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of Elyonin, or whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Okay. Romans 15:25 says, but now I go unto Jerusalem to minister unto the Kadosh, or the saints. So he's going to Jerusalem, and Jerusalem, there's the saints, right? Keep that in mind. Then we go over to Revelation 14:12. Everyone's familiar with this, right? Here are the patience of the saints, right? King James says this, Kadosh. Here are they that So the saints are the ones that do what now? They keep the commandments of Eloah, or Elohim, if you will, and the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. It's not one or the other. Do away with the laws and commandments. I only love Yahushua. We're under grace. The law is done away with. You
Keep
guys
knocking.
are putting yourself
You
under
can't
a
come in.
curse. What are you doing?
Keep knocking.
But then you ask the person, hey, you're a saint? Absolutely. Oh, you keep the commandments? Which one?
Which one?
Something strange. Right? That's a strange thing to ask them. When you start asking which one, that's what you said, you're a saint. Right? So again, you got to see what a saint is. According to the Revelations, it lets you know that it's one that keeps the commandments of Yahushua. No, it's one that keeps the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahushua. So those laws of Elohim let you know it's stemming those commandments way back. And these two makes you this Kodesh or this saint. All right. Lastly on here, it's Revelation 19:8. It says, and here were granted that she, now, if you do this, they're granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white or pure. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the Kodesh or of the saints, right? So again, and we know the definition of righteousness, Isaiah 51:7, Deuteronomy 6:25, right? So we know what righteousness is, those who keep his laws. So now we see that everything is in harmony if we believe, if we agree that the whole book is true. If we're going to start dividing the book, then we're trying to find things that are opposing, as though he meant this for just Israel, but not for no one else. We don't have to do this. And there's a dividing of a book, right? By this little sheet of paper if you got a King James. All right. So we'll keep going. It says back to Daniel. So remember I said, what's supposed to happen for all this stuff takes place? You're supposed to have Jacob's trouble is on the way, right? It's on the way. I'm just saying it's already here, but most of it's on the way. It's going to get worse, right? So before this utopia takes place, you're going to be tried, right? You're going to go through a lot of things in life. But it says, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, or the Malach, or the messenger, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. You know, it gives me, when I think about that, is a lot of people have met Gabriel. A lot of groups, camps, a lot of people said they met this Malach. And we got so many different denominations, interpretations, but they all got from this same Malach. No difference in, we got the same book. We got so many doctrines from this same book. Okay, but anyway, all right, we'll keep going. He wanted him to understand the vision. He said, so he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and I fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. When is the vision? At the time when? Of the end shall be this vision. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep. Now, I've heard some people in deep sleeps. Some of you got sleep apnea machines. Okay. On my face towards the ground, but he touched me and set me upright, took you off that machine. Okay. All right. So until that happens, I understand why y'all got to plug that thing up. All right. Verse 20. The ram which you saw having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now, that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Okay. He says, and the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king. Now, when the transgressors come, let's see what happens, or full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding. And the King James has dark sentences. right? So I'm just giving you the Hebrew there. What it says there in the Hebrew there, it's kidah, which means someone that has a riddle or difficult questions or a parable. So this person is going to be very wise. Okay. And this person is going to have riddles and parables. And if you can't answer it, oh man, that guy is smart. Wow, he knows so much. But how do you know he's telling you the truth? Right? So just keep that in mind. He shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty. And who? This Kodesh people and the saints. Okay. And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. What do you mean craft? Okay. It's deceit. So let me give you the definition there. Okay. Mirma means someone that has deceit, treachery, or crafty. Okay. So this person is going to come with this. Right. So he's going to have some type of craftiness, some treachery, some deceit to prosper in his hand. Okay. And then it says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
Peace.
How do you do that? How you doing?
Yeah,
Everything good? Because you remember, he's already letting you know he's going to be one smart transgressor. And he's going to have so much shalom and peace. And you might think he's the one, right? So then he says, magnify himself in his heart, and be at peace shall destroy him. He says, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Prince of princes, what does that mean?
HaMashiach Yahushua.
Seth, you heard Shirley Caesar, hold your mule. Hold on, I'm gonna get you there. The prince of princes, we're gonna see who that is. All right. So
You asked the question.
who is the prince? I know we want every prince to be Mashiach. I got you. Every prince. But listen to what it says. So to get to this prince, we got to go up a little bit. Let's just go up a little bit before we read down. We're going to go up now. It says, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Who are they?
Oh my, fallen.
Okay, keep that in mind. And it says, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. This person is thinking he's better than even the prince of the Malachims, if you will, the host. Okay. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. So just for Namana, did you still want to make that Mashiach there? Or we changing our mind here a little bit.
I'm gonna be quiet, Moreh.
Okay. All right, no problem. All right, no problem. I got you. All right. So now, again, the wrath of Yahuah is coming. Yahuah is that dam, if you will, right? He's holding back his wrath, but he's doing it with patience. And here are the wickedness of men. But what I'm getting at, though, is this here is giving them an opportunity to get it right. Because if not, once that thing breaks open, it's a wrap. Now I see. I'm sorry. I'm on my deathbed. I love you. What commandment? I'll do Shabbat tomorrow. No, that's a wrap, right? So we got to see that, everything is surrounded. His kingdom is surrounded by keeping commandments and laws. And we know that in these things, we're going to be going through persecution and hurt and pain. And we're going through all of this now. And we're trying to figure out, how can we keep our heads above water, right? I feel like giving up. I get depressed. A lot of stuff is happening. That lets you know you're in what type of trouble? Jacob's trouble. You're in a form of Jacob's trouble. All right. So the latter days is a period of distress and deception, and to the appointed time of the end. All right. Daniel 11:27. I'll start to speed this thing up a little bit. And both of these kings' heart shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table. But it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Okay, so I don't care what you do. He already has appointed times. There's no changing that. Okay. 32 says, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their Elohim shall be
Strong and do exploits.
okay. So again, think about it. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corruptly fed. If you're going to go against the Father's covenant, you automatically understand you're already corrupting things, right? So just keep that in mind. So let's see what happens. He says, and they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by the flame, by captivity and by spoil. How?
Many days.
Many days. Okay, many days. It says, now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen. Now, the word there means aid, surround, protect, support. Okay, so imagine they shall be aided or surrounded or protected. Now, mind you, you got to figure out who's around you, who's trying to surround you, who's trying to aid or help you or support you. Why? Because with a little help, because that's all they say, you need my help? I got you. With a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. Okay, so watch out who you surround yourself with. Okay. 35, and some of them of the understanding shall fall to try them and to purge and to make them white or pure, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. Okay, so some of us are going to make it. Some of us are going to fall, right? But again, what makes you fall? What makes you fall? If you don't know his word, right? If you don't know his word, if you can't stand on his word, if you can't follow faith, you're going to fall. Okay, remember, by faith are you healed, right? By your faith. They didn't say by his faith, it's by your faith. Okay, so things are going to happen, whereas you might think, I can't bear it no more. He says you can. I got you. But if you've already convinced yourself that you can't bear it, then of course you can't bear it.
Now, you see that 35, now he said, some of them of understanding shall fall.
Mm-hmm.
That was to do it for a purpose, though.
Right.
Not to destroy them.
Right, but it's to help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So them that understand shall fall.
Mm-hmm.
So hence the term of understanding. All right. The purpose will be to persecute the saints and try to deceive them. Okay. There's a lot of that happening. Some of us are doing it to one another, maybe unknowingly, right? Because there are some that could have waken up, and if they got something right, you're an instant Moreh. Got it. Now let me go ahead and tell everybody, the world, what he done showed me. Right? Some people believe that. Keep going. All right. Hosea, chapter 12, it says, he took his brother by the heel. Everyone knows the story, right? And the womb, and who is this? It's Jacob, right? Okay, and he strengthened, he had power with Elohim. Yea, he had power over the Malach and prevailed. He wept and made supplications unto him. He found him Bethel, and there he spoke with us. All right. Even Yahuah Elohi Sebaot Yahuah memorial. Therefore, turn you to your Elohim. Keep mercy and judgment and wait on your Elohim. How? Okay, at the end of the day, keep mercy and judgment or right ruling, and wait on Elohim. Some of us don't want to wait. Some of us want to do our own thing, right? Just, he said, be patient. I got this. 9 says, and I that am Yahuah your Elohim from the land of Mitzrayim or Egypt will yet make you to dwell in tabernacles as in the days of the solemn feast. Anyone read that before, like in Zechariah 14? Tabernacle is coming back, if you will, and this whole system is going to be coming back in the land. So just keep that in mind. 10 says, I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. That's what I'm saying. The prophets' words are very, very important, right? Some things that don't give away of his prophets, like Amos and things like that. There's a reason for him using the prophets. So to do away with the prophets and the Tanakh, and you're going to have a problem if you're not going to understand what's to come, okay? All right, almost there. 11:30 says, for the ship of Kittim shall come against him, therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the Kodesh covenant, the set apart covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have, so he's going to have intelligence. So here's intelligence. The word bane means he's going to have discernment. He's going to know how to observe. He's going to have insight. He's going to be very eloquent, right? Understanding, cunning. He's going to have skill, right? With them that forsake the set apart covenant. It's hard now. You got to say, man, well, someone with all of this, how can I win? Anyone knows? You try the spirit by the spirit. You got to, if he's going to have that much intelligence, you better know your word, right? And then once you know the word and they tell you something different, then you know, oh, this guy's cunning. Oh, this guy's trying to use skill. Oh, this person is doing this and that, right? Oh, you sounded really well. You're very eloquent in your speech. Mm-hmm. All right, so Kittim. Kittim talks about here, you see it says, for the ships of Kittim, we're in Daniel. Think of the prophecy back in Numbers 24, Bamidbar 24:24, and the ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and shall afflict Asher and afflict Eber, and also shall perish forever. Now, if they're going to perish forever, you got to see how is this going to happen. This is really brief. So among the sons of Japheth, Assyria shall fall with no one to come to his aid, and the supremacy of the Kittim shall cease, that wickedness be overcome without a remnant. There shall be no survivors. Right now, Kittim is still surviving, right? All right. And then you go here, and the Quran also says, and the king of Kittim shall stand for judgment, and the leader of the congregation, the branch of David, will have him put to death. Who's going to do that for Kittim? The branch. His dominion is going to be forever. Okay, so ain't you going to do, I'm going to do right now, unless you're telling me today you're David, the branch of David. Anyone hear the branch? No? Okay, I'll Google them. All right, let's go. All right, so the Romans, the Macedonians, the Scythians, and the Cyprus, that area is all considered Kittim, right? So I started to give a map, but I just, for the sake of time. All right, 12:1, we're on our way out the door here. And at that time, Michael, the great prince, shall stand up, that stands over the children of your people, and there shall be a time of tribulation. Such tribulation has not been from the time that there was a nation on the earth until that time. At that time, our people shall be delivered. When? There's a certain time this is supposed to be done, right? At that time, they'll be delivered. Everyone that is written. So if you're in that book, you will be delivered. If you're in the book. If you're not in the book, you got problems. It says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to reproach and everlasting shame. And the wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and the many righteous and the stars forever and ever. And you, Daniel, what did he tell him to do? Close the words and seal the book to the time of the end, until many are taught and knowledge is increased. So he got to close until this time period, right? 13 says, but go you and rest, for there are yet days and seasons to the fulfillment of the end. Daniel, go to sleep. Right? There's a lot of stuff to happen. That's going to happen. And you shall stand in your lot at the end of the days. Okay. So pay close attention to the words like days, in, times, it could be seasons. All of these things are going to start connecting to help us understand what's happening towards the latter days. Okay. All right. Yes, Shayalot. Any questions? Go ahead, Key. He's on his way. Oh, you looking sharp today, Aki. Yes, you are. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I got 3 questions.
3?
But one of them is
Okay.
afterwards. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, so the first question is, let's see. Okay, so when you read out the precept from Daniel chapter 11, verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that I'm trying to find out, there's Matthew chapter 24, verse 24, which reads, for there shall rise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So I'm trying to find out, does that correlate to Daniel chapter 11,
Yeah.
verse 27?
Yeah, definitely correlates. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so my other question is, as far as with Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
did he speak Aramaic for his dialect?
So yeah, because he was in captivity. Now, mind you, even though Aramaic is its own language, it's like a sister language to Hebrew. It's almost like saying, I hate to use it in this way, but it's like saying someone that's Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Honduras, Spain, they have a lot in common, but there are some words that are just different. Mm-hmm. Oh, they need a mic, they said. Yeah, it is.
All right, so Daniel, since he was dealing with captivity, that changed his whole tongue, his native tongue, from Hebrew to Aramaic.
Right, but it's easy to transfer from Hebrew to Aramaic, even to Arabic. Technically, it's not hard to do that. But the other way of looking at it is no difference in us coming over, those that have been born over here. You have a lot of people that's been born. Let's say they're, Latino or African or whatever. When they come over here and they're raised here, they adopt this language. So no difference than him and his captivity. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else?
Slicha Moreh,
Ken.
what is the equivalent of time, times, and half a time according to, I don't know how to break that down. Is that considered like a week, or I don't understand that concept.
Okay, those are prophetic times. So it's almost like in Revelation about 3.5 years, but these are prophetic times. So it's not divided into our understanding of English days, a time and a half a time, the dividing of times. Is actually specifically talking about in cycles. Some would say in cycles of Jubilee. Jubilee cycles, and which I tend to agree. But my point is, it's not based off of our calculation more than it's based off of a spiritual calculation.
Toda.
Moreh, I was wondering, so for Daniel, is it a mixture of what was going on in the time plus prophecy? I have a question about Daniel 8:21. Was the rough goat speaking of Alexander and the 4 that came out, his friends?
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's say Alexander all the way down to the Maccabean time period. All of that is in Daniel's prophecy.
One more question, Slicha, please. When you were talking about the evil man to come, the man of sin per se, is that the same person in 1 Thessalonians when you're talking about the lawless man, is that the same person?
No, no, no. One's going to be dealing with the nation. One's going to be dealing with, let's say, the leader of that nation.
Okay. I just need to make sure I understand. I don't want to confuse anything. Toda.
Oh, no problem. Anyone else?
Moreh, question. In toward the beginning, when you was talking about the stones, when it first came to my mind, I was thinking more so of how Yah carved out 2 tablets of stones out of the mountain. Is there any correlation to that? No? Okay.
No,
Ta-da.
but I mean, but if you want to utilize, let's say, a principle behind it, you can, meaning that those stones that he carved out was designed to help us keep and to give us life, and life everlasting. And you want to use that with that stone being Mashiach coming to break all of that up. And basically, it's going to be based off of keeping the law, statutes, commandment. I mean, if you want to put that principle together, you can.
Okay. I was just wondering because when Moses threw the stones, it broke and everything too. But okay, I understand. Ta-da.
You can. Okay, anyone else? Okay. All right. If our hearts, minds are clear, we'll close, and then we'll switch over to the Hebrew class. And we'll see how much everyone did their homework and have fun with their word and stuff. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yahuah Eloheinu melech haolam.
Moreh. I have one question.
Okay. You had a question, you said? Shalom? She might be on mute. Oh. Shalom.
Going twice.
Okay, here we go. No, that's no. Shalom. That's
Yes. Can you hear me?
Ken.
Can you hear me?
Ken. Yep.
Okay, I'm having some difficulties. I'm way over here in Arizona, so.
Oh yeah. I know they don't have anything out there.
No, and that's right. And I work with Border Patrol, so I'm right on the border of Mexico. So bear with me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm trying to keep up with you here. I'm looking. What is our life application of the story?
Okay.
What is our life? What is the take home goal from this?
Okay. So the take home realistically is to show that in the last days, there are going to be, he's looking for those that are going to be willing to endure to the end. And they're going to be going through trials, and they're going to be going through so much in these days. Some are going to want to give up. Some of them are just seeking after signs. And he really wants us to focus on ourselves, like our own soul salvation with fear and trembling. So we have to, despite what's happening around us, we still need to maintain his word as we're going through these trials or Jacob's trouble, and don't let other people steer you from that. And so as we go through these things, we're also talking about latter-day prophecy, meaning what's to look for, to let us know where we are as time ago. Now, we don't know the day or the hour for sure. And of course, but we also want to make sure though, that is, we don't want to be caught out there neither.
All right, thanks.
No problem. Okay, all hearts, minds clear? Okay. William, you had a question?
Yeah, Ken. No, I had a quick question. It was relating to the question that the gentleman had who came up first. When we talk about Daniel speaking the dialect when living in Babylon. What do you say to those that, you know, since we're in America, they speak against the Hebrew, or they're comfortable with using just the pagan terms and the titles that are in our English Bible?
Well, I don't. This just depends on where they are. In other words, even this language here, you know, we still give them praise in the English language or the English dialect or whatever dialect that they're in. And he says, as it says in Isaiah, that he's gonna even talk to us in these tongues. But as you grow and as you mature, it's just like a baby. When a baby doesn't know anything, it says certain things, but you start to pick up what it means. But as the baby grows, it starts to develop more or mature in its speech or in its ways. It's no difference than I would say those that have learned the language or is learning the language. They're starting to see that there is a difference in some of the translations, and so we're comparing what's been translated and seeing that, you know, most of it we can say, okay, it's being translated pretty good, and some of it is that's a bad translation, and other things is like, wow, you know, that's misleading. But how would you know that unless you learn the language itself? So that's what I would say for those that are learning the language. They're the ones that are going to see the difference. Those that doesn't know the language, I'm not going to say that it's not going to affect them more than if they're wherever their heart is as they're growing. The Father's still meeting them where they are. Everyone has different talents. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm.
Baruch atah Yahuah Eloheinu melech haolam. We give all esteem and honor unto you for this day, for yet another opportunity to come before you, Yah. We thank you for the blessings in which you have brought forth here today, for the word in which you have given us through our Moreh. We ask and pray that it be written upon our hearts and that we have the power to be able to overcome the distractions of life and to be able to have the faith of your servant Daniel in times of trouble so that we may be able to be the overcomers. We ask and pray that you bless our Morehs and continue to place your word in their mouths and in their hearts and upon the foreheads of their mind. We thank you for this opportunity to be able to fellowship, and we ask and pray that you bless the food in which we are about to receive here later on today. We ask and pray that as we depart from this place, that you give us safe travel and mercies. We ask and pray over the lives of each and every member of the Knesset here, as well as online. Meet everyone where their needs are and bless them as you see fit. We thank you for who you are and for all in which you have done for us. As it has been asked, let it be so according to you and your will as we go forth here today. We ask and pray these things of you in the name of our beloved King and High Priest, Yehoshua HaMashiach. Amen. Selah. Hallelujah.
Okay, Mishpachah, just keep in mind also that I just want to share that, you know, we all do need each other, right? So, you know, of course, the Mashiach said, he prayed that we be one as he is one. So I just want us to be encouraged that we need each other and to work through a lot of things out. So some things you have to worry about doing things on your own. Just know that there are some things that we have to do within ourselves, but also things that we can do to help one another. Shalom, lehitraot. And see you guys. So some of you guys I see you on the Hebrew class. For others, prayerfully next week. Shabbat Tov.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hello.
Shalom. Barak Yahuah.
Shalom. Sorry.